Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the Ango Show. It is Monday, January 5th, 2026.
Yep.
Oh my God, it's a new year.
Crazy,
It's
dude.
crazy. It's another year we get older, another year with hopefully more blessings and good health and all these different things.
Brother, you're getting older, not me.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I have a lot to look forward to this year. Obviously, I'm getting married this year. There's just a whole bunch of
Yep.
craziness. But it's fascinating too, Billy, because with all the craziness that I'm expecting this year, I was
Yeah.
really, really, really hoping that professional wrestling would start to step up a little bit. And
Dude, I know, me too.
it felt like this past week, obviously, we'll touch a little bit on SmackDown and just a variety of things. We're probably going to be all
For
over
sure.
the place on this live stream, but I thought it was so crazy because like AEW last week was great. WWE last week was great. New Japan
Correct.
Wrestle Kingdom was awesome.
Mhm.
Tonight we got Raw, and there's just so many things, so many rumors, there's so many things that WWE is doing these days. I don't know. To me personally, I'm just excited about it. But first and foremost, I just want to say shout out to everybody for joining us, and welcome back to the channel. I would really, really love to make live streaming a big focal point this year.
Well, it's so funny. You're the one who said, I seen one of your videos. You said, I think it was the one where you said, thank you, just thanking everybody for the year. I was like, okay, Ango really wants to take this seriously. As you guys can see, I told myself and I posted in my channel that, hey, this year it's going to be a different year. Definitely new plans ahead. Let's take this live streaming thing serious because it deserves to be taken serious.
Yeah, man. So shout out to everybody joining us. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. And of course, throughout the show, we'll be reading shout outs and questions and super chats. If you guys want to support the channel, the best way to do so is a super chat. Tolino Channel is actually kicking us off today with 100 Indian rupees. And he says, 3 banger themes. Don't know that's Def Rebel. Also, SmackDown feels fresh when it hits that restart button. I don't know if you guys saw Billy. I mean, I kind of wanted to talk about it anyways. Like, I made a video about it. Austin Theory's new theme song is a banger. Kit Wilson. I don't know what they did with Kit Wilson. Kit Wilson has like such a banger theme in Titantron, and that's becoming really cool to watch. Like, I don't know. It just feels like there's something fresh happening in WWE. I don't know if Def Rebel's gone, but I'm just very pleased with some of the changes that they've made. And I definitely agree here. SmackDown feels fresh when it hits that restart button. It definitely felt like SmackDown did it. And for a 3-hour episode, I just, and I've said it in the past too, I feel like when SmackDown's 3 hours, we just get better episodes. And when they went back to 2 hours last year, it was really, really hard sometimes to get through every episode. Because it's not that things were bad on the show. Like, it wasn't like we had episodes that were poor. It just seemed like we were getting episodes where 1 or 2 things were really good and the rest were just kind of like, whatever. Friday night was an amazing episode. But you could just tell there's like this reinvigorated feel within the WWE, which is what I feel like we needed. I know even before we would talk about it even months ago, where it's like AEW and WWE just kind of need to get back to being exciting. And I really feel like that's the case. And then even Johnny Gargano, he went back to his old NXT heel theme.
Yep, love it.
And then we had the news, which happened
Tommaso
over the
Ciampa.
weekend. Ciampa's gone from the company.
Yep.
Just a crazy, crazy week, man. We're 5 days into the new year, and it feels like something good is happening, right?
Yeah, I think, and go real fast, I think I know what half the problem is. I'm going to go ahead and fix my mic before I respond to you real fast.
You go ahead and do that, buddy.
All right. Can we hear me a little bit better now?
I hear you great.
Okay. So what I want to say is yes, we're off to a huge highlight, a big start to the year already. Obviously, you're talking about Kit Wilson. Want to say love that guy's theme song. Don't know where it came from. Don't know who's doing the theme songs. Happy that somebody's doing it. You know what I mean? Hopefully somebody's fixing some of that Def Rebel problem. Or if it's Def Rebel, good for them, right? They're getting something right. Don't know yet. But kind of alluding to what you said on, SmackDown being 3 hours, I was actually under the circumstance that, man, I'm going to go into this and I'm going to hate this. I really did. I thought to myself, I was like, this is not going to be good because I went in in with the idea that WWE was not going to change anything. Like maybe they do a little bit of a reset and the show itself would be good, but they wouldn't add anything special to make me want to continue watching. And obviously they did. We've seen people like Trick Williams show up. We've seen people like Matt Cardona show up. There were obvious names that just the Wyatt Six promo that they had on SmackDown was amazing. And then, obviously AEW kicked off the year. They had a really solid show. I think wrestling in 2026, it's all companies trying to fix what happened last year, because I think we can all agree that in some case, whether it be WWE or AEW, neither promotion was really hitting on all cylinders like they should be.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. It's not like 2025 was terrible.
No, I'm not saying it was the worst year in the world. You know what I mean? Again,
I think both companies just kind of struggle to do something really, really exciting.
Correct. Especially because in 2024, we've talked about it, the year that they had, especially in WWE, and the year was so strong and they created such a huge wrestling moment. It was hard to kind of rejuvenate that feeling back into the audience. It felt like WWE, and I speak on WWE because this is really who I'm putting the focal point on in this very moment. WWE, it felt like they weren't able to grab the attention of the fans that they once were able to grab.
Yeah. I think that's relatively true. I think we have kind of come to a point, and maybe, maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know. But I feel like as if 2025 was the year of complacency. And
complacency, that's a really good word.
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to. And I think 2026, we're only 5 days in, of course, but I just feel like now we're going into WrestleMania season, and and I want to give props where props is due, even for like AEW as well. I know this is really hard for some people to grasp, but I think when you look at AEW, some of the things that they had to do was to kind of realize, like, okay, the Death Rider stuff in the beginning didn't work. We have to get that on track. They did that with the Hangman Page stuff. And then obviously now MJF is back and he's world champion. And like I just felt like even for AEW, like I really didn't think they had a great 2025. I know the people will sit there and disagree with me.
Well, the Hangman thing was obviously really good, and that created a really awesome moment.
For sure. But it's not just about moments, right? It's about keeping me hooked on a week-to-week basis.
Correct.
But I feel as if like even AEW kind of figured it out towards the end of the year of like, hey man, like MJF world champion, which it makes me excited for 2026.
Yeah, me too, because I know what's to come.
Yes, and I feel like that's kind of where I feel like I got a little bit more excited with AEW and WWE though, because it's like, okay, maybe 2025 wasn't extremely exciting. It had some good stuff throughout the year, but like now in 2026, I have a higher expectation based on the way it ended in 2025. And a lot of that also started too with SmackDown on Friday, and we're seeing this with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, like that's a big thing. And then obviously WWE Raw tonight.
Man, and by the way, tonight's Raw, Stranger Things theme, pumped. I am pumped for tonight's Raw, dude. I have to say that. Tonight's Raw is a show that I've been looking forward to a lot. Yeah, man, I'm very excited for what's to come with just pro wrestling in 2026.
Yeah, shout out to Tolino Channel for that 100 rupee super chat. Visualize Inside dropped a $5 super chat. He says, let's give a round of applause for yesterday's Wrestle Kingdom 20 for the great Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yeah, shout out to Hiroshi Tanahashi. What a beautiful career. I watched Wrestle Kingdom 20. I stayed up. Obviously we're Eastern time. I stayed up and I watched the entire thing.
Did you actually stay up and watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I did. And I honestly, I do every year. I genuinely enjoy watching NJPW. The thing about NJPW is the way they distribute their content is so different from WWE and AEW. So I may not watch every single event or whatever it may be, but for me, it was kind of cool because it's like with New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's just a different level of wrestling, and it's a different level of a wrestling pay-per-view. And I feel like Wrestle Kingdom 20 was probably not even top 5 of the best. Like, it wasn't even in the top 5 of Wrestle Kingdoms that I've enjoyed. But for me, it's just always something different. It's always something fresh. And of course, I wanted to watch Tanahashi's retirement match. Now, if you guys want my insight on this, I'm sure this would genuinely piss off a lot of people. I looked at Tanahashi and Okada's match the same way as I looked at John Cena versus Gunther. I swear. And it was such an enjoyable thing to watch. But to me, it's like apples to apples comparison. Honestly, it's an apples to apples comparison. But I loved it. And I loved the Gunther and John Cena match. And I loved Tanahashi and Okada. It is what it is. But I definitely want to say New Japan Pro Wrestling had a great event. It's always kind of fun sometimes to watch Wrestle Kingdom as well. Just for the simple fact that it's not WWE and it's not AEW, and it's still a high quality production. Even though maybe throughout the years it's kind of lowered itself in a way. It's been a while since New Japan has been at the level that they should be at. I hope in 2026 they figure it out. And I think this is really more so because of the parent company and decisions of that nature. But it would be really nice to see New Japan get to a point where they go back to being that massive company that I think they've been before.
I agree with you 100%. Tanahashi's retirement was outstanding. I loved it.
Yeah, just great stuff. Shout out to Visualize for the super chat. Tolino Channel coming through with another one for 100 Indian rupees. He says, do you think Jacob Fatu gets into the 3 stages of hell? Drew's character work needs that title. He is such a gem that feel deep in the wound. I mean, listen, I'm so geeked about 3 stages of hell. I feel like everybody's challenging Cody. We saw Randy Orton challenge Cody and Sami Zayn challenge Cody. And I feel as if maybe it would be nice to see WWE give Drew the belt. I think that would be such a wonderful shock. I don't think Cody needs the belt right away. I think you could have Drew win the belt and Cody turns heel to win it back. I mean, there's a million things you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think that Cody should be revealed as Jacob's attacker.
Cody should be revealed as Jacob's attacker.
Correct. Yeah, and I think that's how you give Drew the belt.
Cody being the one that attacked Jacob Fatu.
Correct. Yeah.
So Jacob goes after Cody because he knows it was Cody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's the Jade Cargill situation. Why not?
I don't think it works in this case.
You don't think it works in this case? Why? Is it because of what potentially could happen at WrestleMania?
I mean, what could potentially happen at WrestleMania? Are you talking about Cody and Roman?
Cody and Roman, correct.
Well, if anybody's watched my theory on that, where Cody would turn heel and go heel against Roman, I've talked about this for months now. If that were to be true, I don't think it makes sense for Cody. Like, Jacob Fatu and Roman need to have more on-screen time together for it to make sense in that case. For Cody to be the heel attack. Listen, Cody's heel turn needs to shock the world. It can't be a special reveal that happened. No. Jacob Fatu should not get involved in 3 stages of hell either. Jacob Fatu should come back as a babyface.
So you don't think he should get involved in the 3 stages of hell? Because I'll be honest with you, bro. There is not a bone in my body that believes, unless we see some type of Jacob Fatu interference, that Cody wins the championship Cody loses the championship by any stretch. Unless there's involvement from Jacob Fatu.
I don't think it has to be Jacob Fatu. I mean, if you're Drew McIntyre, why not start a new faction? Like, have a faction reveal where 2 guys take him out and it's a tag team that joins him. Like, I don't know. Like, listen, here's the thing, man. Like, with Drew McIntyre, they need to do something. They need to do something to prove that he's the guy. I don't know how you do that in this situation. I don't
either.
If you had 2 guys take out Cody and it's 2 guys joining Drew McIntyre, I mean, it would be really dope. I mean, listen, the thing is, it's like, okay, well, now what 2 guys do you have do that? I don't know. Because I would say Tyler Bates and Pete Dunne would be awesome.
Yeah, no, but obviously they're
tied up with some other stuff. Right. It's like, but it would be kind of cool for Drew McIntyre to have 2 guys by his side while he runs SmackDown with the championship. I don't know. Yeah. And I just have a very strong feeling he's not going to win the belt, quite frankly. I don't think he's going to, but
neither do I.
It would be
and
nice.
The only reason why I say I don't think he's going to win, because I know some people, yourself included, excited for the 3 stages of hell match. I was actually really pumped for it. I really was. And then they revealed the stages,
Yeah.
and that's where they lost me.
So what's the issue with that for you?
I didn't like the idea. So, okay, the first one, fine, straight wrestling match. I actually kind of seen that coming. Who's the better wrestler? Blah, blah, blah. The next being a Falls Count Anywhere. I was like, okay, it's not horrible. It's once we got to the steel cage where I was like, I felt like we could have done like Hell in a Cell here. You know what I mean? Or something bigger than just your average steel cage match.
While I would agree with that, and I definitely wanted it to be a Hell in a Cell match, to end things off. It is a SmackDown.
That's what I remembered. But the fact, like the way it was being built, and knowing the history of the 3 stages of Hell match, if you go back and you look at like Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, do you remember how brutal that match was?
I think Cody and Drew are going to make this a very brutal match, regardless.
Okay, all right. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I actually believe the match is going to be outstanding, regardless. I'm not as excited as maybe I was on the build up, not knowing the stipulations.
I'm going to disagree with you.
That's fine.
You're free to feel how you feel, obviously, but I disagree in the sense because even Friday Night SmackDown, we just had an ambulance match, which is not a very common match type on WWE programming
for sure
throughout the year.
For sure.
And I thought what they did was so excellent was Aleister Black and Damian Priest really went out there and killed it. So when I look at them doing that in the main event of SmackDown, and I see some of these things that they've been doing on Raw and SmackDown, I like the fact that 3 Stages of Hell is on SmackDown. I like the fact that they're adding a little bit of a
so I don't have a problem.
But here's the thing. Hold on. I know, but here's the thing. I think if you're going to go after the match types, okay, a regular match makes the most sense. In fact, I think you could even book it where Drew McIntyre is like super confident, where he's going to DQ himself to give Cody the first fall. I can see even something like that happening. So he DQs Cody. Cody somehow beats him in the Falls Count Anywhere, and then the cage gets locked down, and then somebody gets involved to help the other person win or cost the other person the match. So the thing is, I don't mind it. It's just how you execute it. But I like the fact that they're doing it, and I think the way that they're doing it opens up a lot of opportunities to do some cool stuff. Now, that's up to them, right? That's up to Triple H and Road Dogg and everybody who's on the SmackDown writing team. But I think those 3 match types allow for some creative ideas to flow. Because at the end of the day, what is a Falls Count? What's the difference between Falls Count Anywhere and Extreme Rules? Oh, you could use weapons and everything, but then one has to be in the ring, one has to be outside of the ring.
Right.
You know, like, come on, let's be real. If they just said hardcore match, or if they said,
I get where you're coming from there.
Yeah. But I'm excited about 3 Stages of Hell. I think it's going to be fun. I really would like to see Drew win. I don't think he will. I think
we can all agree that it would be nice to see Drew win. I think we can also all agree that it probably won't happen.
Which is terrible to think about.
Right, it is. It's horrible to think about. But if WWE really wanted to shock everybody and be like, "Oh, hey, welcome to the new year," take the belt away from Cody. Let Drew go defend it.
Yeah, it's true.
But obviously, it's the road to WrestleMania. They're not going to shake up plans right now. Come on now.
I mean,
we know better.
But I think it would be fun if they did.
It would. I agree with you. I agree.
What's that word I used earlier? Complacency.
Complacency, for sure. And this is one of those times where it's WWE being complacent because, hey, this is quarterback 1, and we can't take it away from quarterback 1. I'm not shit talking Cody. I love Cody, man. I just think we could use a change now.
And I think there's just more story that you could dive into with Cody chasing the belt again, or Cody being away from the belt for a little bit, and there's just so much more you can do.
We've talked about it numerous times. When you look at like babyface champions, it's always really hard because the chase is always better.
Yeah, of course.
It's just the truth.
I mean, listen, this is gonna sound kind of shitty, but look at, like, for example, Sami Zayn in the ring, and he wants the world championship, and then you got Trick Williams, he wants the world championship, and I love the idea of multiple guys wanting the world championship. That's
of course, but it's also the Royal Rumble too, and I think that's something to remember.
Of course, but I love the fact that it's like that. It's just right now the only place where it feels like the world championship would actually change hands is the CM Punk title, not the Cody Rhodes. Correct. So that kind of makes it a little bit boring for me. Like, listen, like, I really like MJF. So when MJF won the world championship, even though I really like Samoa Joe, I didn't care that Samoa Joe dropped it because I like MJF. I really like Cody Rhodes, but there's a lot of other guys I also really like. It's not a big deal to have Cody drop the belt, but I understand why it is.
That's the thing with WWE. It's like there's so many guys. Like I made a video yesterday talking about like how Sami Zayn makes a lot of sense, to go out there because Cody needs, new challengers and things of that nature. But regardless of that fact, again, it goes back to the word that you use numerous times, and that word is complacency. It's WWE constantly being complacent with themselves and being afraid to change the one thing that they know is super prestigious to them, like the WWE Championship. And like you just said, they're more inclined to change and take the World Championship off Punk rather than taking the WWE Championship off Cody because, hey, we have this idea for Cody Rhodes that we want to get him to WrestleMania 42 against Roman and things of that nature. But it's like, man, like I've already seen that. You can still do that match without the championship. So no matter what we're talking about here, whether that be Jacob Fatu entering and helping Drew or helping Cody or whatever the case is, right? Like Cody and Roman, in my eyes, doesn't need the championship at all. And I think WWE needs to get away from that complacency. I know I just kind of rambled on there for a second, kind of meeting at that one word, but I really want to get that point across of Cody doesn't need the championship right now.
Yeah. They'll probably keep it on his ass, though.
They will. Yeah, I just said all that and wasted like 20 seconds of my breath.
No, that's all good. Shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat. Right hand Cam extending his membership for 3 months. He says, Happy New Year. Can't wait for Y2J. SmackDown was a B+. I mean, listen, maybe this is my ego speaking. Maybe this is my overconfidence, whatever. I don't care. Genuinely excited about the way I fantasy booked Chris Jericho returning to WWE.
Yeah, somebody give this guy the pen.
I genuinely love my fantasy booking there. It was a big hit on YouTube. Almost 200,000 views. A lot of the comments, a lot of love. Starting to take off a little bit on Twitter and TikTok as well. I'm genuinely happy with my approach to that fantasy booking. I think it's a very logical way of writing it. And who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Chris Jericho doesn't show up tonight. I don't know. But I think the thing about Chris Jericho that is so crazy to me, and I've seen some comments, people will be like, well, Ango, you really hated the learning tree. But I never hated Chris Jericho. I hated the learning tree. I thought the learning tree was bad. But you know what?
Dude, that was never the problem. It was always about where he was positioned.
It's where he was positioned. It's what he was doing. And the thing that's so interesting about Chris Jericho is, yeah, he's older, and I get it. But Chris Jericho is a talent who is valuable. And if there is any person out here who does not think Chris Jericho is valuable to a wrestling show, you are speaking out of your ass. And your ass is jealous of the shit that comes out of your mouth. Because 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. I'm not joking, bro. Like, this is real shit.
I know.
Chris Jericho went to AEW from the start. And if Chris Jericho was not there, I would bet life savings that AEW would have not popped off the way that it did. Because Chris Jericho immediately brought credibility to AEW. And for those who don't agree with me, then why was he the first world champion? There was a reason. It was to bring credibility to the brand. Now, there was other pieces like Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Hangman Page. There was some great stuff there. But Chris Jericho brought legitimacy to the company. They needed Chris Jericho to execute coming off of a debut and everything. But there was two people in AEW history. Without them, I don't think AEW exists today. And it's Jon Moxley and it's Chris Jericho. And now the good thing is, and this is what I love about professional wrestling, AEW in 2026 does not need Jon Moxley. They don't need Chris Jericho. They have built a brand that is good enough that it's not focused on specific talent. And the reason why I say that, for those who will disagree, because I know I will get shit on for saying that, the reason why I say it is because, well, they signed Adam Copeland, they signed Mercedes Moné, they signed a whole bunch of big names, and it never changed their business. So at the end of the day, it's not about the talent. Now the brand exists, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. It will exist. But without Chris Jericho and without Jon Moxley, I single-handedly believe that AEW would not be where it is today without them. But the thing is, they've done a great job of going on and on and on to the point where they are not reliant on specific talent. So for Chris Jericho to leave AEW, it's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. I don't want to see learning tree bullshit in WWE. But the Chris Jericho that was in the Pinnacle and all of those great in the Inner Circle and things of that nature, he was awesome. And this guy could still wrestle. He's still charismatic. He could still cut a promo. I think Chris Jericho coming to WWE is going to be excellent because not only is it a great business move, but it's also a great move for Chris Jericho personally. There's a lot of things that TKO and Fanatics and all these things that are happening that benefit Chris Jericho in 2026. It's just where Chris Jericho should be. It's home. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's his home. He left AEW. He's going to WWE. It's going to be excellent stuff.
Yeah, and the truth is it probably, maybe the contract will be long-term when it comes down to like developing talent later down the line or whatever the case is. And maybe Chris Jericho wants to play a part in that role. We don't know. But obviously, I think the in-ring stuff, I don't think the contract will be very long. But even with saying that, I kind of want to talk to you for a second, and I kind of want to play devil's advocate here for a second. And I want to ask you, do you think that Chris Jericho still holds, because you talk a lot about how Chris Jericho, he was obviously like a really big Kickstarter with AEW, and he's like how they got off the ground and things like that. And I think that's a fair sentiment to say, but we also have to look at the time period that was and where we are now. Do you think Chris Jericho still holds that value today versus the value that he once held in the year 2018 or 2019?
Yes, even more value.
Really? Now, why do you say that?
Because he's a legend.
Just and because he's a legend.
He's a legend, and his reputation hasn't been tarnished.
Okay, that's fair.
Do you think his reputation has been tarnished since being in AEW?
No, I don't. Me personally, I don't. Like I said, I'm just here I'm here to play devil's advocate. I want to ask these questions.
I know,
because there are people that really do think maybe his reputation was tarnished, or he doesn't hold that same. I'm just saying, there's people. I'm not saying that I am.
But
right?
Help me understand that, right? So if we're gonna play devil's advocate, try to help me understand that.
Because let's look at the learning tree, right? That was obviously a very, very huge miss by AEW when it came down to him. So people are going to look at him and be like, man, like they had him in Ring of Honor fighting for the Ring of Honor World Championship. What does that do for me as a fan watching the show? It did absolutely nothing. So how can I trust that this guy is going to go back to WWE and he's going to go have some great run in this last year? Because just a couple minutes ago, we even sat down and we talked about how there's so many big names that come up. How can we trust WWE to process Chris Jericho the same way maybe that they once did?
So I think when you bring it up like that, I think when it comes to the learning tree, the reason why it was not good, especially when you look at Chris Jericho holding the ROH World Championship, that's not a reflection of Chris Jericho. I don't think, genuinely speaking, it's a reflection of Chris Jericho. I think it's a reflection of Tony Khan and his booking. I think it was very, very clear that Tony Khan was trying to get a TV deal for Ring of Honor, and it did not work.
Absolutely.
That's what was happening. It's not because Chris Jericho was world champion that they didn't get the TV deal. It's because Tony Khan wants X amount of money for Ring of Honor. He values it more than what people are offering. So the thing is, for Tony Khan, I think when you look at that whole thing, it ended up being a thing where Chris Jericho took a hit of it. People chanting, "Please retire." They said that because they didn't like the. We know wrestling fans are fickle. We know this. They didn't like the learning tree. Now, if Chris Jericho comes into WWE and he's doing the learning tree, for example, the fans will shit on it. But if you bring Chris Jericho as a nostalgia act, it ends up working very well. So a perfect example in comparison is look at Sting. Sting was a nostalgia act. He came into AEW as a nostalgia act. No matter what anybody says, it was a nostalgia act. But it worked out very much. Great. And it was a phenomenal run. Yeah. And there was people that benefited from it. So the thing is, with Chris Jericho coming to WWE, you have to utilize his name and his legacy as a way to work with other talent. So like I use LA Knight as a perfect example because, man, LA Knight needs something major, and maybe right now there's not a world championship available to him. Yeah, maybe he should be put over against Chris Jericho. But by the way, the promos will be amazing. So it's like, we know this because we know Chris Jericho could cut great promos. Right? Even when he was in the learning tree, it's not like his promos were bad. It's not like...
No, Chris Jericho's a great talker. I'm not talking to that.
So that's my point, though, is I feel like we've come to a situation when you look at where we are currently with professional wrestling, I think WWE just needs to handle Chris Jericho as Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I just want to say something real fast. That was all me playing devil's advocate. I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing Chris Jericho tonight because I'm in very much in agreement with you. I do think that, Chris Jericho returning to WWE is huge. The one thing that we keep kind of saying, it's the nostalgia act. That's obviously a word that keeps coming up. Do we really expect Chris Jericho to have a nostalgia act, or is this going to be another case where Chris Jericho comes back to the WWE and he tries to reinvent himself one last time? So obviously we know that he did the list. He was Y2J. Then he was just the asshole Chris Jericho with the suit and tie. Then obviously in AEW he's walking around, he's Judas and all these different things. Do we see a new version of Chris Jericho when he does return?
I think you see every version of Chris Jericho.
You think it's every version? Okay.
I think we see a fusion of everything. But I think with my fantasy booking, if it happens tonight, the idea should be Chris Jericho is there, and you don't know what's going to happen next. Like you should be asking questions of like, okay,
yeah, you leave them confused, kind of like they did with the Punk situation, where Punk obviously Punk is different.
It's two different scenarios. I don't like the comparison to the Punk return because I think it's two different scenarios.
Excuse me. But when I say that, I mean in the sense of like the stare down, like just walking out there and staring down everybody. No real idea of where the alliance lies.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, I think even in the beginning of the show, you should have like an Escalade pull up and you don't know who it is. You tease something big,
I like that. That's a really good idea.
And because you're doing Stranger Things, what I like about this too is because you're doing the collaboration with Stranger Things. From my understanding, the cast of Stranger Things will be there. I don't think that's true, but if it is,
dude, how funny would it be if Mike was the one driving the Escalade?
I mean, again, there's something there, bro. Somebody in the chat put, Chris Jericho should be wearing a Vecna mask.
Dude, that would be hilarious, bro. I would lose it.
You never know.
Never know. That would be great. Like, hey, dude, we're doing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shout out to Cam for the membership, by the way. But yeah, the Vecna thing would be kind of fun because it's a collaboration thing,
Yeah, for sure. Vecna I agree.
Was in WWE Raw.
Dude, Jamie Bauer. If he's there, that would be so sick. The person who plays Vecna, for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for tonight's Raw, dude. I would too. That's something I'd fully get behind. People don't understand. Me and you, off stream, we had conversations about Stranger Things. I'm a diehard Stranger Things fan, guys. I'm looking forward to tonight's Raw. I talk about it on my streams, the whole nine, dude.
I think it's a fun collaboration.
It is, and great timing too.
We need a heel to come out there and be like, it was all a game. It was all fake. Dude, it never happened.
Yeah, be like, dude, I need somebody to walk out there and be like, this is the worst ending in TV history and just shit all over it. And then you have the cast come out or something. How funny would that be? Bring the Miz out. I don't care how you do it. Bring them out.
And Millie Bobby Brown and Mike and Will, I don't know all their real names, but they all come out there. They all come out there and start stomping on the Miz. That'd be crazy. That would be so crazy. That would be
hilarious.
Man. Shout out to Cam. Toledo Channel dropping 100 rupees. He says, with high stakes Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, do you think shockers might occur? Will WWE go full on Leon Slater and or Kendall Gray? Both very, very interesting names being brought up. Leon Slater, Kendall Gray. Listen, man, I think with Raw, we definitely see Javon Evans officially called up. Like it's like something with him happens. I think with Raw, we'll definitely see some surprises. We got Matt Cardona on SmackDown. Do we get Dolph Ziggler on Raw? I don't know. I think that could be a fun possibility. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out. I think we'll get some shockers for sure. WWE was able to pull off a whole bunch of surprises Friday, and none of the dirt sheets were getting it out there. And I don't think Kendall Gray will be called up just yet, even though
not yet.
Should be.
Love Kendall Gray.
I think Kendall Gray is probably going to be NXT Women's Champion for a while. She'll probably get that chance. Leon Slater could probably win the world championship on NXT New Year's Evil.
Boom, boom, boom. If Oba's going up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be fun. But I definitely think we get shockers, and then I think the night ends with Chris Jericho. Like, I really think
I agree.
This is WWE coming in and breaking down the walls, literally. Like, they're coming to make 2026 their bitch.
Shout out Adam Pearce, who's ready to break down the walls.
That was good. That was good stuff by him.
It was, dude. It was great. He was like, break down the walls and capture the gold. I was like, oh man.
I love the fact, sincerely, that they play into the stuff, bro. WWE is so good. Like, honestly,
dude, when I post, because I made a TikTok talking about the Chris Jericho situation and talking about how Adam Pearce announced it or whatever. And yeah, dude, they do. WWE's always done a really good job at that kind of stuff. Look at the commentary, the best in the world, like it's shit like that. It just works.
And they do such a good job of it. And that's why I think, like, WWE, they will probably have surprises tonight, honestly. And it's the 1 year anniversary of Netflix, and just like, man, you could do so much. And maybe Jacob Fatu comes to Raw. Maybe he moves permanently to Raw, which I think would be cool. I think that could be a possible surprise.
Yeah.
I think, one thing that's kind of interesting to me is Friday really cemented the whole idea or the vision of possibly seeing Tama Tonga going his own singles route.
I think that's something that we're going to see.
I think we're going to see him kind of break away from MFT. And part of me likes that, because I'm like, okay, like, you're teasing something that may not even happen for sure, but it's a tease. They're doing something. I think, like, we're going to even get some of that on Raw with other people, whatever it may be. I also think Chad Gable returns tonight. And I think Chad Gable and American Made are back. And, like, I think we'll see some stuff happen there. There's just so much that can happen. And then what's crazy is it's not even over with that.
No, it's not. I do think that we see the return of Chad Gable tonight. I think that's a must-have. I'm not sure how you'd feel about it, but it's definitely something where I look at the situation. Does WWE go back to the El Grande Americano situation with Chad Gable?
Do they go with him being El Grande Americano?
Well, yeah, that's more the question.
That would be tone deaf. It's nothing against how Chad Gable was El Grande Americano, but
so do you think that they put some emphasis on that because of Ludwig being El Grande Americano, essentially?
I think what you do for shits and giggles is have Chad Gable and El Grande Americano together in the same room, and Chad Gable could be like, "I told you I wasn't him." Like, you guys didn't believe me, and then move on. Literally, just
that'd be funny as hell. That'd be funny as hell.
Like, I tried telling you guys.
It wasn't me.
It's El Grande Americano was right there, and it's Ludwig Kaiser. Like, I don't know. It's really dope to see what they've been able to do with El Grande Americano and how much they've transcended the character. So for me personally, when I see that, I get really geeked about the opportunity for Chad Gable to come back as Chad Gable.
I know, it excites me too.
But you can't ignore the El Grande Americano stuff. Listen, that's my thing. If I were WWE for the next AAA event that's being broadcasted, I would have Chad Gable and American Made versus El Grande Americano. El Grande,
yeah.
And the El Grande Americano Juniors. Like, I don't know.
El Grande Americano Juniors.
But I think that would be something fun, and I think you could use Raw tonight to set that up. I think you have to do something there, but then immediately Chad Gable should move to SmackDown and be a singles guy. Let him go out there and have 5-star match bangers with Aleister Black.
Dude, can we just get him a singles championship?
I think it happens. I think for sure 2026 is the year it happens.
Man, it has to.
I don't think it happens on Raw, though. I don't think it's the IC title. I think it's really the U.S. title. I really think...
Especially with the run that the U.S. title's having when it comes down to just pro wrestling matches.
And it just, if it's perfect. And Carmelo Hayes is so awesome, too, because they did that segment on SmackDown where him and Ilya Dragunov, like, they have this mutual respect. And he's like, hey, like, maybe when I do the open challenge, I'll keep the lights on for you. And it's like, that's what you should be doing, because they're going out there and having banger matches. Even if you hot potato the title a little bit, what you're doing
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like, Chad Gable could eventually go in there and do open challenges too. And there's a lot of fun things that you can do on SmackDown.
I agree.
I think the IC title is in a little bit of a different boat. But who knows? And I think for SmackDown, if you're WWE, like Chad Gable could be. I'm not saying this is what everybody would want to see, but I'm just saying if Drew McIntyre was world champion, for example, and you needed the ultimate baby face, wow, Chad Gable could be the guy that you build up to dethrone Drew. They're not going to do that because it's always about fucking Cody Rhodes, but I'm just saying.
Dude, it's so funny. It's so funny because I remember 2 years ago, we were so like, I remember the lives that we did. Dude, we were on the fucking Cody train. Dude, in just the way things have changed.
It's not against Cody.
It's not. It's just the positioning and where we're at right in this very moment. That's it. But I'm in agreement. WWE won't do it because Cody Rhodes is there. And Cody Rhodes sells a lot of merchandise and he, hugs babies and does all the right things that a babyface is supposed to do, and they trust him.
Yeah.
What's that word you use? Complacency. It's a bad one, dude.
He's awesome. Don't get it twisted. I love Cody. It's just
I love Cody too.
It's not the Cody Rhodes show. It's the WWE show. And
correct.
I say this respectfully because I think Cody Rhodes literally carries himself the best that any WWE champion could. Like I think he's just so good at carrying himself the way he does.
He is.
But I would like to see something different. And the reason why too is like I understand the WWE championship is like the number one belt, but sometimes I wish Cody was on Raw going for the World Heavyweight Championship. Like when I see the title picture over there, it's like, man, I wish Cody was in the loop with the, CM Punk and Braun Breaker.
Dude, so do I, because of how good it would be knowing that Cody's over there. Because I think one of the biggest mishaps, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ango, I got really excited when you said that. One of the biggest mishaps is that we continue down the warpath of Roman and Cody versus Cody actually being out there and helping some of these stars like Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed or Austin Theory or Logan Paul. Like I can see Cody helping those individuals because every time we talk about Cody Rhodes, it's, Cody Rhodes can't get anything done unless he's in the bloodline vortex. I don't know if that's fully true or if it's just WWE making it true. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's always been weird to me, like why WWE doesn't choose to move Cody, especially to your flagship show.
Yeah.
If you're screaming quarterback one and you're yelling quarterback one, why isn't he on your flagship show?
What I would really like to see is the World Championship belt switch brands.
Me too. But go back to that. That's like ruthless aggression era for me.
It should,
SmackDown having the world title, Raw having the WWE championship.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it should be that way.
100%.
Because right now, as messed up as this sounds, and maybe some people agree, some people won't, dude, 1,000%, the World Heavyweight Championship feels like the A title.
No, I feel like they're neck and neck. I think they're pretty much on the same level.
See, I just right now something. Maybe it's because of where we're at on SmackDown, but I just enjoy the stories a little bit better on Raw in the world title scene.
I would love nothing more than Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce to have a backstage segment and do a trade.
I'll trade you.
Not just an even swap either.
They've done it before.
But not just that. Hey, like if they're not doing a draft, hey, we're doing so. Hey, I need some of your talent on my show. I got Netflix executives telling me that they want them, and I'm going to spice up the deal. I want Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. I want this and this. And by the way, I'm willing to trade my world champion for your world champion and this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you can.
I do.
Like, I don't know, bro. WWE's on ESPN. Fucking have Stephen A. Smith say, oh my God, sources are telling me Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce are preparing to trade world champions. And in addition to that, Nick Aldis is going to send a compensation package of $1 million in addition. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying you could do it, make it cool, make it fun.
You could take that direction all day long.
Yeah,
I agree.
Seleno Channel followed up with another super chat for 100 rupees, and they said, will WWE take the bad things from the learning tree and ROH for ratings and convert a great storyline with partnership with TNA? No. But what I will say is this. I would expect Chris Jericho to be on TNA and AAA both in 2026. I think Chris Jericho A lot of people forget this, but even before AEW, he had people in TNA that he's friends with. He likes TNA. I think Chris Jericho going to TNA, maybe even for January 15th, would be really cool when they go live on AMC. I think WWE should send Chris Jericho there. It doesn't have to be for a match. It doesn't have to be for anything other than
just a hey, hello.
Yes,
right.
Send him there. Do I think WWE will do it? I don't know, but I think what WWE is going to do with Chris Jericho is it's nostalgia. They're going to lean into the nostalgia of Chris Jericho, and then Chris Jericho himself will lean into a fusion of all of his characters on WWE programming.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned AAA. Obviously, Chris Jericho has a long-standing history when it comes to AAA. And, you know, he wrestled in Mexico and things of that nature. I do think that we see Chris Jericho in AAA for sure. Just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah. Shout out to Toledo Channel. Cornell Bryant dropping a $4.99. Ango, didn't Drew say old school cage match, meaning the blue steel cage from the In Your House era?
I couldn't preface.
I can't remember. Maybe he did. Honestly, I can't remember.
So he did say old school steel cage match.
I thought that the problem is escape only.
That's what I thought. I was like, are we just prefacing that it's like the old school steel cage match rather than a blue old school steel cage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're doing a no escape, that would be kind of fun.
For sure.
I mean, if it's only escape, I mean, you know, you have to escape the cage. I actually, my pet peeve in professional wrestling is pinfalls and submissions in a cage.
Oh God, I know they suck.
And walking out through the door. Walking out through the door is whack.
Yeah.
No, get your ass up, climb over the freaking cage.
Come in here and catch these real fast.
Yeah, like climb up. Don't be lazy. Get up there.
You got to work for this thing.
If I had to button mash on the N64 and all those game consoles to climb the cage, then you can climb the cage.
Oh man.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think
inside of a steel cage sucks.
I don't remember him using the term old school cage match.
So no, he did. He did actually use the terminology old school steel cage match. But again, it's they didn't specify if it was again how he said it or if it was an actual old school steel cage.
Well, do an old school blue cage.
If they want to do that, that actually excites me a little bit more. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think that would be one where you kind of focus on the climbing of the cage to get out.
Oh, I'm so intrigued.
But again, it could have just been WWE and Drew McIntyre being like a good old-fashioned steel cage match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Interesting. Shout out to Cornell Bryant for the super chat, the $4.99. Toledo Channel coming through again with 100 rupees. He says, I agree with Billy TKO. Raw is like an entertainment Gen Z soap opera, and SmackDown is like a working class show where great matches are being put on.
It's true.
I think you still get some of the good matches on Raw too.
You do, but Raw has always been that. Yeah, Raw's always been that. It's always been the quote unquote more soap opera. If you go back and you watch in like 2004, for me, I was a big SmackDown guy back then. Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, like all those names that you think of when you think about like diehard professional wrestling. It came from SmackDown. The soap opera, the drama, the what's the word that I'm looking for? Just everything that you wanted to feel something oftentimes came from Monday Night Raw, and the same can be said in 2025. Like Ango said a minute ago, it's not to take away that they're not having good matches. In fact, they're much better matches than they were many, many years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Regardless of that fact, it's still a soap opera. It's still their show. This is where they're telling all their really good stories, and they're putting a lot of focus on. It's always going to be Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. It's very true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I have to say about that there.
I agree.
SmackDown.
Hard to disagree with that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat.
My guy.
Let's talk a little bit about the Chris Jericho stuff.
Yeah, bring it on.
What is like your... I feel like with anything in professional wrestling, there's always pros and cons.
Always.
And I think we all are aware of the pros of Chris Jericho coming back. What are some of your cons of Chris Jericho coming back?
Somebody said it earlier, but I think it was Tolino Channel who mentioned it in one of his super chats. Talking about the learning tree, and like the things that he was doing on Ring of Honor and not actually in like maybe not fixing those things. They're not tweaking them. Like obviously they wouldn't come in and do the learning tree, but you kind of keep that same old like quote unquote cringy gimmick, with Chris Jericho. Like I think that's something that would really throw me off. I don't think WWE does that, but again, you can never say never, right? Another con that I think when it comes to Chris Jericho, this is going to be a little bit more of a tough con that I think some people would disagree with. One of the biggest cons that I would have is if they came back and he was just like the Y2J version of Chris Jericho. Like just that's it. Or just like the same old like one version of himself. It's not something that I want to see out of Chris Jericho. I do kind of like you said, play into everything all at once. You know what I mean? I think that's boom, perfect right there. Don't do Chris Jericho in the list. Yeah, no, keep away from that. Like if you want to hint at it, sure, whatever. But don't literally do that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm scared that's what they're gonna do.
Dude, if this guy comes back and he's got like a clipboard,
I'm so scared that eventually when he feuds with LA Knight, because he has to feud with LA Knight, it
makes the most sense. Yeah.
I see him with the clipboard, and then he's like, LA Knight, you just made the list. Oh, I would be so
I'll
good.
lose it. I'll lose it. Again, that's not something that I want to see. I don't want to see not LA Knight, but Chris Jericho going back to that, like just one singular version of himself. I can't. No, just please no. Bring out like a badass version of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is in his older age. You got to do something cool with him, and he continuously has reinvented himself numerous times. You're telling me that now it's stopping? That no, it's not.
Zach Pack said, why does he have to feud with LA Knight? I'm genuinely asking. So I've been under this belief for a very, very, very long time that LA Knight is he needs to be doing extremely important stuff without holding the belt, which is a very difficult task for WWE to do. Because if you're not holding a belt, then whatever you're doing is somewhat important, but it's not always important.
All right.
Chris Jericho is a nostalgia act. He's a legend. And in my heart, I believe that LA Knight versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania in Vegas would be a massive match for LA Knight's career without necessarily having a massive stipulation attached to it. So therefore, I choose to believe that LA Knight needs to feud with Chris Jericho because that is one of the big stories you can tell without it being for the world title. Personally speaking, I also just think creatively, you could do so much cool stuff there because of their promo skills and their charisma. Like LA Knight, for example, is just so good on the mic. So is Chris Jericho. So I think it would just be very entertaining in general. That's why
I agree. I agree. One of the big things that I have is a lot of people maybe feel like, and me even myself, when they wrote him off TV, LA Knight. Obviously, you look at LA Knight and you have to look at everything that WWE has done to him and that start-stop momentum that he's kind of always gotten. This is a great opportunity without any type of championship to give him a lot of momentum. This is an opportunity to maybe right the wrongs that you once had with LA Knight. Like you said, Chris Jericho putting him over makes a lot of sense because, again, LA Knight, just because maybe he doesn't have a world championship in the very near future, doesn't mean that he won't win it at least once or twice in his tenure in WWE. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not right in this very moment. I understand that people are like, oh, well, he's 40 years old and he's, the age and things of Chris Jericho is about to come back, and Chris Jericho is how old?
50 something.
There we go. Okay. So maybe that conversation isn't as valid as we once thought it was. Of course, as being in your 20s a little bit, it's obviously better at the time and things like that. For sure. But these wrestlers aren't reaching their prime until they're 40. I mean, let's just be real here. So I know everybody wants to write off LA Knight and say that we're done with LA Knight, even myself in some cases included. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to just yet. I'd wait and see. But yes, I agree. LA Knight is a great opponent for Chris Jericho. It's something that needs to happen.
Yeah. Hopefully that explains it, Zach Peck. Adam7899 dropping a $10 super chat. I could see Leon Slater pinning Oba Femi tomorrow, where Femi moves to the main roster and Slater holds the NXT title until his TNA contract ends in a year and re-signs with WWE. What are your thoughts? Billy, I have a very interesting take here, but I'm going to let you go first because I might ramble and I don't want to take away your time. So go ahead, answer this, tell me what you think, and then when I'm ready, I'm cutting your ass off.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm just going to start off by saying I will be pissed. If Leon Slater beats Oba Femi, I'm not pissed at the fact that Leon Slater is beating Oba Femi. In fact, that gets me excited. I love Leon Slater. I think he's great. Problem is Leon Slater is a TNA superstar, and I'm not saying that that's a huge problem, but he is. He is a TNA superstar right at this very moment. What would piss me off in this scenario is that somebody like Javon Evans existed not very long ago on NXT. And you're telling me that in this exact moment, you can create an opportunity for Leon Slater to win the NXT championship, but you couldn't create a scenario for Javon Evans to win the championship. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. In fact, you had an opportunity to do a feud between Leon Slater and Javon Evans, and you could have given Leon Slater the world championship, the NXT world championship, if that's what you were going to do in the first place. And yet, here we are, Javon Evans never winning a title on NXT, potential Leon Slater because of Oba Femi potentially going up. WWE is obviously very high on Leon Slater, and he's not even a part of their damn company. He works for TNA. I understand being high on the guy. I like him too. I enjoy him. I think he's great. Regardless of that fact, he doesn't work for your company. So that's why I would be pissed off. I just don't think it's right to you have a homegrown star who is literally almost identical in the sense of Javon Evans in your company, and yeah, you never gave him the championship. So that's all I have to say about that. Regardless of the fact, would be very happy for Leon Slater. Again, I do think he's great. This isn't me taking anything away from Leon Slater.
Yeah, actually, I think, Adam, I'm going to just be honest with you. I think that's exactly how it happens. I think WWE is rolling out the red carpet for Leon Slater. I think between Saturday night's main event and all these different things that WWE has made possible, I would actually go as far as saying AJ Styles even appearing on TNA Slammiversary when he did was WWE trying to kind of open the gates for a potential signing of Leon Slater. Then we got them in the ring together at Saturday night's main event, and that was a very big deal. Leon Slater coming to WWE, it's inevitable. And the reality is WWE, TNA is not going to stop them because TNA, I mean, Carlos Silva's even said it publicly, like he has no problem with WWE taking their talent and them developing talent to go to WWE or whatever it may be. So I feel as if we get Oba Femi losing the belt and Leon Slater wins it, I think it's inevitable he shows up. But also in the meantime, too, look how TNA benefits. Like Leon Slater showing up on AMC with the NXT championship would be remarkable for TNA and AMC. So even if TNA loses Leon Slater, TNA still benefits a year, because obviously he still has contract time with the company. But I actually think this is exactly how it goes down. I think Oba Femi loses, and I think what's really interesting to me, and I genuinely mean this, I think we have to get to the bottom of Tony D'Angelo and Oba Femi, and we haven't touched much on that in NXT. So I think Leon Slater wins because he's the underdog. But I also think Leon Slater wins because Tony D'Angelo
helps out Leon Slater.
I do, but not because he's helping out Leon Slater. It's because he's going after Oba Femi. And believe it or not, I think when Oba Femi gets to the main roster, I think Tony D'Angelo follows. But listen, man, this is one of those things where if you want Tony D'Angelo, if you want these guys to, do well in NXT, but also on the main roster, you got to tie in the stories from the main roster in NXT. So with Trick Williams on SmackDown and Carmelo Hayes is there, I also expect some sort of tie-in based on their history. Even if Leon Slater were to win and Tony D'Angelo doesn't necessarily help him, I think you have to kind of bridge the gap with Tony D'Angelo in some aspects. So for me personally, I think Tony D'Angelo gets involved in some ways, whether, and it depends. It could even be after the match too.
Mhm.
Because you could have Tony D'Angelo take out Obafemi just to write him off of NXT, and then he could go to the main roster and call it a day. But I think Leon Slater winning, he should win. I think it would be a beautiful, beautiful way to end NXT. And I think Leon Slater is definitely WWE bound. And I mean, listen, if you're Leon Slater, how do you not take that opportunity? They're rolling out the red carpet for you, and they're giving you their world championship. A lot of people are so scared because of the NXT call-ups, but I think this is a great way to keep the men's division fresh. And I look forward to it. I really, really do. I don't know. I think Obafemi dropping the belt to Leon Slater is totally like a David versus Goliath type of thing. And Obafemi going out on his back is never a bad thing in professional wrestling. You can protect Obafemi regardless, and he'll be completely fine when he goes to the main roster. So, yeah, like I said, it was a little bit of a ramble, but that's just kind of how I felt about it.
That's all right. I dig the ramble. It was a good ramble.
Shout out to Adam7899 for the $10 super chat. If anybody has any other super chats they want to get them in now. But overall, man, it's just kind of crazy to see where we're at with professional wrestling. Like,
yeah, much different conversation than when we had, like a month or two ago.
And it's sad because I love professional wrestling, and it's like I was saying earlier on the stream about like Wrestle Kingdom. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I know some people in the chat were like, "Oh, I don't like the comparison of Gunther and John Cena." Okada and Tanahashi was John Cena and Gunther, but in Japan.
Literally, right?
Like,
it was.
And I love that, and I love what we get in professional wrestling. And sometimes professional wrestling, it's okay. I think it's okay for us to kind of hit these up and down spikes. I know wrestling can't always go upwards, right?
Right.
But I feel like in 2025, I was waiting for more exciting stuff to happen. And
it's okay. It's okay to have a downward year. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't agree with that. I mean, you don't want a downward trend. But...
excuse me. Yes, excuse me. But it's okay to have. What's the word that I'm looking for here? Like, not everything's going to be perfect, and let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Right?
But the way it ended was super exciting for me. So I personally got excited because I was like, okay, it just seems like we're finally getting to some good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we needed, man. Like, it's
for sure. Big time. I agree. 1,000%.
There's a lot of things that, like, in 2026 I'm getting excited about now. So that makes me thrilled, but of course we gotta get to it, man. We gotta get WWE and everybody going.
I need to ask you one question because I know we're, waiting on a couple super chats. I want to ask you, Ango, what is the one thing that you are looking forward to happen in 2026 in pro wrestling? Doesn't matter, any company, any place. What's the one thing that you're looking forward to?
I think WWE is already kind of doing it, but I would like to see more new names, new fresh faces pop up and start being relevant. I think in professional wrestling, it's so easy to get excited about the Seth Rollins and the Cody Rhodes and the Drew McIntyres. But to me, I look at NXT, I look at Ring of Honor, I look at some of these companies that maybe these talents aren't everywhere, but they should be everywhere. So personally speaking, that's what I'm excited for. I think in 2026, we're going to get a lot more of that. I think we're going to get a lot more fresh faces, returns, debuts, call-ups, fresh matchups, fresh feuds. That's one thing I'm really looking forward to.
All right. I dig it. Dig it a lot, brother.
Oh, man, how beautiful. I think I got something in my eye.
I can tell.
But it's okay, because I don't need my eyes to talk. So
right, exactly. Jeez, oh, Pete's. Oh, man. Monday Night Raw, Stranger Things edition.
Super excited about it, man. Super excited about it. I can't wait to see what happens, obviously. And I'll be obviously covering it all and all that good stuff. And we could talk about it tomorrow at 12 p.m. live.
Yep, and I'll be live on my channel for a watch along if anybody wants to come join us and come hang out. We are live Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, so come pull up and come hang out.
No, you don't do watch alongs for AEW?
No.
E-drone.
That's Oh, good Lord. Yeah, nope, not a. I watch AEW on my own free time. Yeah.
Weird. I remember for like 4 years, you would just sit here and disagree with everything I said about AEW. How the tables have turned.
Now I just got called the E-drone, and that's messed up. Take that back.
Nope. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Ango Show. Check out Billy at Billy TKO. Make sure you guys click subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Obviously, I'll keep you guys updated along the way with everything that's happening in professional wrestling. I appreciate you all being here at Billy TKO on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, and all that good stuff. Yada, 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 yada. Thank you to everybody for dropping the super chats. Adam, Tolino Channel, Cornell Bryant, right hand cam for the membership, Visualize Inside for the super chat as well. Thank you guys all. We did hit our super chat goal. That was really cool. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And shout out to everybody for joining us. We will see you guys next time. Peace.